Welcome to this third trimester prenatal yoga class. My name is Sandra. We are going to need quite a few pillows and blankets, so make sure you gather enough pillows, enough blankets to get really comfortable, primarily during Savasana towards the end of the class. What also comes very useful is two yoga blocks or something of similar shape. So if you have something to work with, then have it close by, preferably already towards the end, if this is the end of your yoga mat, located at the end of your yoga mat. We start in a seated position, and I recommend you have something to sit up on, like a folded blanket or a firmer pillow, especially if your knees are higher than your hips, because it will otherwise be really difficult to upright your spine and be in a comfortable place when it comes to arrive and settle on the mat. You don't want your body to disturb and to be in the way. So come to a cross-legged position and have your hands just rest on your knees or on your thighs, and allow your eyes to fall closed. And just allow yourself a few moments to arrive on the mat. Your body to arrive and settle in this pose. As you feel your sit bones grounding firmly down into whatever it is you're sitting upon, all the while having the crown of your head reach high towards the sky, and the shoulders dropping heavily away from your ears. Now just allow yourself to take a few long, deep breaths. And as you do so, observe on how your mind begins to join the body. In this very shape you are in. Make sure your face is relaxed and soft, especially the hinge of your jaws and your forehead, the place in between your eyebrows, relaxed and soft. Now observe how your mind is at the moment, if it's very active or rather quiet. And allow all of your thoughts and all of your thinking that is present at the moment to drop down into the center of your heart. So breathe your thoughts and your thinking down into your heart space, reminding yourself that this is where all of your wisdom resides. It might be interesting to know that the word courage has its origin in the Latin word cor, or cuore in Italian, which means heart. So keeping that maybe in mind, continue to breathe your thinking, your thoughts down into that space of heartfelt bravery, where all of your heartfelt decisions really come from. If you like to connect a little bit further, you can rest your left hand on the center of your heart and on top the right hand, and take a few more cycles of breath here. Now keeping your left hand where it is, gently slide your right hand down onto your belly, where your baby resides. And just take a few moments now to welcome your baby to your yoga practice. Reminding yourself that everything you experience together. And just allow yourself a few moments to simply become aware of each other's presence, whether your baby is awake or sleeping. Allow your next inhale to be slightly deeper, and then as you exhale, gently blink your eyes open and have your hands rest on your knees or on your thighs. And then from here we just start to gently circle the spine. So you decide on how big these circles are, whatever feels comfortable to you, but I'd like you to try and keep the shoulder girdle, the shoulders more or less above your hips. So we want to concentrate the movement really like in the belly, where the baby is, a kind of belly dance, and see how that feels. And as you do that, of course, you continue to breathe deeply, allowing the breath to just flow freely. If there is a place that feels more interesting than another, kind of stuck, or you feel a blockage there, you might also want to stay there and explore that area a little bit further. And otherwise we come slowly back to center, and we do the same thing to the second side. So circle your belly into the other direction. We can encourage, during prenatal yoga, generally encourage exhaling through your mouth. So usually inhale and exhale through the nose as we practice yoga. But during prenatal yoga, there will be a lot of exhaling through the mouth, simply because it helps to relax and let go of any physical and emotional tension. And both is not useful during labor. Now we come slowly back to center and feel the spine growing tall. And then we lean a little bit back, only to alternate the cross of our legs. So have the other shin in the front. And bring your fingertips slightly behind you. You have the fingertips on the floor. Roll the shoulders back and lift your heart. You bend your elbows just a tiny little bit, draw them towards each other. And what you can add to accentuate the opening in your chest is having the fingertips gently pressing down and forward without having them move really. But in between, like in the middle of that, you lift the chest higher towards the sky without throwing your head back. So you have an equal curve in your spine. Feel the opening in your chest and your shoulders as you breathe deeply for another cycle of breath or two. Now come slowly back to center, to upright. And now we're going to lean over to the right and collect some air with our right hand far to the right. And sweep to the front over to the left. And then from here, spiral your chest up in a tiny kind of twist before you rest your right hand back on your near thigh. Take a deep inhale, collect some air to the left. On the exhale, sweep to the front, far to the right. Spiral your chest up, lift your heart, and bring your hand back to where it was. Inhale. On the exhale, collect air to the right and sweep over to the left. Lift your heart into a twist, a tiny twist only, resting your hand back on your legs. And one more time to the other side. So you do that once more in tiny shifts. So collect some air on the right. Sweep your arm over to the front and to the left. Lift your heart, spiral your chest up. And from here, into a twist, right fingertips gently behind you on the floor. And we keep the twist more in the upper body, like rather the shoulder girdle twisting and keeping the belly rather facing the front. So just a mellow twist. And if you feel comfortable with it, you can add earth mudra with the ring finger touching the thumb. So promoting connecting to the qualities of the earth element in our physical body, qualities like grounding, qualities, solidity, and stability. Now, as you inhale next time, sweep your arms out to the sides and up, come back to center. On your exhale, release your arms down by the sides of your body. Take a deep inhale. On your exhale, sweep the air, collect air from the left over to the front and to the right. Lift your heart, spur your chest up and come into a twist to the second side. And again, if that feels natural to you, ring finger and thumb of your right hand together, connecting to the qualities of the earth, grounding, finding stability and support. On your next inhale, sweep your arms out to the sides and up, come back to center. As you exhale, release your arms down by the sides of your body. And we're now going to roll, or swing the legs back actually. Rolling over the knees might not be available anymore. And you can, of course, stay cross-legged if that's more comfortable, but I prefer to do pelvic floor work in this seat. Vajrasana, or variation, where we can put a block underneath our sit bones. That feels more comfortable. But again, you can stay in a cross-legged position if this is what you prefer. So make yourself comfortable, make sure your knees and your legs, everything feels well. So the pelvic floor really provides stability and support. At the same time, it needs to be able to relax and open as well, and much more during pregnancy than during the rest of our lives. So during pregnancy, the pelvic floor not only supports the inner organs, but the uterus and the baby as well. And during birth, the pelvic floor obviously needs to open way more than it needs to open when we empty our bowels, for example. So working with the pelvic floor during pregnancy is really valuable work when it comes to prepare for labor, but also when it comes to the time after birth, so postnatally, when we remember what the pelvic floor felt like before we gave birth, and therefore we know what we are working towards again. So we begin by just finding our comfortable and relaxed inhale and exhale, relaxed breathing. And I encourage you to inhale through the nose, but exhale through your mouth, through gently parted lips. So we don't pass the lips, but the lips are just a tiny little bit open. So find a few moments, or take a few moments to connect and familiarize yourself with the natural rhythm of your breath, reminding yourself that a relaxed exhale is a very valuable tool when it comes to work against emotional and physical tension. And again, tension is no good companion during labor. And we want to make particularly sure that we relax the hinge of our jaw and the whole facial muscles really soften, because as that happens, there is a response in our pelvic floor as well. The pelvic floor is going to relax and open much more if we relax the face at the very same time. And that, of course, provides an easier exit for the baby into the world. So continue your relaxed breathing. And as you inhale, what we want to add is we gently engage the pelvic floor muscles. And on the exhale, we release. We'll just continue doing that for a few cycles of breath, engaging on the inhale, and through slightly parted lips, releasing your exhale together with the pelvic floor. So what you can imagine is that as you engage, you're stopping an imaginary flow of urine. And on the exhale, you're letting it flow again. And of course, you can close your eyes if that helps you to turn inward a little bit more and concentrate on that very subtle exercise. And then from here, what you can do is allow your awareness to travel a little bit further back towards the rear end of your pelvic floor, towards your anus. So what you imagine now is that you, on the inhale, it's like you're holding a fart, as funny as it sounds. And then on the exhale, you let that go. So we're getting familiar with the whole spread of our pelvic floor from the front to the back, from the urethral opening to where the anus is. And just continue working with your breath and combining the breath with the movement. And obviously during birth we are interested at the part in the middle, so the vaginal opening. So what you can imagine now for the next few cycles of breath is that you, or what you not just imagine, but what you're doing is that you draw the vaginal wall in and up on the inhale, and on the exhale you let that go. And it really is more of a lift than a squeeze. Be extra aware that all the while you're doing this, your facial muscles stay relaxed and soft, your lips slightly parted as you exhale. Obviously an exercise you can do wherever, while sitting in the car, waiting for the bus. Nobody sees you doing that, so it's a very private but very effective exercise. And then from here we continue for a few more moments, but I'd like you to imagine a 4-story building. And now the next time you inhale, you take lifting the pelvic floor up to the 1st floor. And on the exhale, you stay there. On the inhale, take it to the 2nd floor. On the exhale, you stay. On your next inhale, take it to the 3rd floor. On the exhale, stay. And finally to the 4th floor. And the next time you exhale, take it slowly all the way down back to the ground floor. Let's do that one more time. So on the inhale, take it to the 1st floor. On the exhale, stay here. On the inhale, take it higher up to the 2nd. On the exhale, stay. On the inhale, up to the 3rd floor. Stay here. And finally to the very, very top, lifting your pelvic floor up. And the next time you exhale, lower it slowly down, all the way down to the ground floor. And if you are beyond week 37 like I am, you can imagine you lower it all the way down to the basement, even further down, further down. So again, that's something you can do throughout the day. So it's very valuable work, really. Preferably not before you go to bed, because it's supposed to be pretty energizing. And those of you who are familiar with pelvic floor work during your regular yoga practice, let me just a short side note, because you might be confused, because in our normal practice we combine breath and movement exactly the opposite way. So just to have you know that in pregnancy yoga, this is how we work with it. On the exhale, we release, because it's on the exhale that we help the baby to exit through the birth canal. So, having said all that, remove the block or whatever you are sitting upon. This is the front of your yoga mat. So you roll over your knees, and we come into puppy pose. So you reach your arms to the front, you stack your knees on top of your hips, so it's not child's pose. And have your forehead rest on the floor, reaching your arms far to the front. Arms are really, really active, pressing your hands firmly down into the floor. Mini dog, so you can always come back to mini dog if down dog proves too strenuous. Now let your right shoulder sink down a little bit, so you gaze underneath your left armpit into a tiny bit of a twist to the left, and we keep on reaching those right fingertips further to the front, pressing the right hand down into the floor and pulling it a little bit back without having it move, but that will accentuate the stretch in the outer right shoulder. And at the same time, the other hand, the left hand, can press down and forward. So I hope you feel where this is going. Now come slowly back to center. Second side, left shoulder sinks down. You will feel your hips sway a little bit to the right, so just let that happen. Crawl the left fingertips further to the front. Press your hand down and pull it back towards you. Just a tiny action, really. While the right hand pushes down and away from you. Deep breathing. Now come slowly back to center and sit back on your heels. Place your fingertips behind you and lift your heart. And again, your elbows bend slightly, harness your elbows in, hands press a little bit down and pull forward. In the middle, you open the chest again. Lean forward, bring your hands underneath your shoulders into a tabletop position. And we do a few cat and cows. On the exhale, cat. On the inhale, come into cow. Mobilizing the spine. And you will feel the bigger your belly is, that it's way more comfortable to keep that movement more in the upper back. So instead of having the movement initiate in the pelvis, and the pelvis like doing a lot of forward and backward tilt, rather focus on opening the chest in cow and rounding your spine, stretching the back of your heart in cat. Remind yourself we don't want to collapse in our shoulders. And then we come to a neutral shape, neutral table, and we step our right leg far out to the side with the toes pointing to the front and having the whole foot grounding down into the floor. Make sure your left hand is underneath the left shoulder, and as you inhale, lift your heart, reach your right fingertips high. So you open your body and your pelvis to the right side, and as you exhale next time, parallel your upper body with the floor again and thread your arm just a tiny bit through underneath your left. As you inhale, open up, exhale, curl down. And open on the inhale, exhale, curl down. 2 more of those. Inhale, open, exhale, curl down. Now as you inhale next time, come to upright and slide your right foot halfway in. So the toes point to the side now. Foot is underneath the knee. Reach your left fingertips high and come into a side bend to the right side. And your right hand is gently pressing the inner thigh open as your tailbone lengthens. And if you feel comfortable now, or if it's natural to you here, we can add the water mudra in our right hand. Little finger, thumb together, connecting to the qualities of the water element or our energetic body, which pervades our physical body, qualities such as fluidity, adaptability, lifting your heart, and opening the left side of your body. Now place your left hand back onto the floor, underneath your left shoulder, and reach your right leg far back. Make sure your left knee is underneath the left hip, left hand underneath the left shoulder, hand, knee, and back foot in one line. So I move that left shin a bit back for stability reasons, and now spiral the chest open, lengthening the tail, and now reach your upper arm across the room. On your exhale, lower that arm. It's kind of a big circle. You lower your arm down into the front. On the inhale, up again. On the exhale, reach your arm to the front and down, opening the shoulder. Inhale, up. Big, big circle. And just continue in your own breathing rhythm. A few more cycles of breath. Now the next time you exhale, circle your right hand down to the floor. Right knee goes down, and again we rest in puppy pose or child's pose if you prefer, of course. Forehead stays on the floor. Pressing your hands firmly down into the floor, spreading your fingers wide and feel those sit bones reaching high towards the sky. Come back to tabletop position and reach your left leg out to the side with the toes pointing to the front. Right hand underneath the shoulder. On the inhale, lift your heart, spiral your chest and your pelvis open to the left. On the exhale, curl down. Inhale, open. And as you exhale, curl down. Let's do 3 more of those in your own breathing rhythm. And after you finished your 3rd round, as you inhale next time, you bring your torso to upright. And you draw your right leg halfway in with the toes pointing to the side. Into a side bend to the left. Lengthen your tail. Reach your right arm across, reaching through your fingertips. And if you wish, bring little finger and thumb together, connecting to the qualities of the water element. Lifting your heart. The qualities of the water element, meaning also that we are open to change and that we flow smoothly around all obstacles we encounter. It's a very valuable ability, not only for pregnancy but motherhood as well. Now place your right hand onto the floor, underneath the shoulder, and reach your left leg back. And move that right foot a bit back for stability. Lengthen the tail, reach your upper arm across the room. On the exhale, big circle down. Inhale up. On the exhale, down. On the inhale, up. On the exhale, reaching to the front and down. Inhale up. And now place your left hand back onto the floor. And either choose puppy pose. If you are comfortable, sit comfortable in downward facing dog. Then lift your sit bones high now. And I encourage you to do some walking moves. So bending your knee one after the other. And as you do so, massage the soles of your feet as well. So the knee that bends. From here, you press the ball of that foot down into the floor and roll over the balls of that foot and the toes. So you really stretch the sole of that foot. Pressing the ball of the foot down and back. And you can let your upper body be part of the movement. Turning your ribcage from one side to the other. And releasing your exhale through your mouth can be really relaxing. Now as you inhale, next time, rock forward to plank pose. Lower the knees down to the floor. Of course, we do mini plank. And we do a few cat and cow waves. So waves. We round the spine back as we move. The hands and knees are a little bit further away than they are in normal tabletop position. So we move the body back and round the spine as we do, so like in cat. And as we move forward again, we let the navel sink down a little bit, but more lift the heart than letting the navel sink down. So on the exhale, move back, stretching the back of your heart. On the inhale, move forward, lift your chest. Exhale, rounding back. Inhale, moving to the front. And what you can add, if you wish to add a little bit of arm strength, is bending those elbows as you move to the front, but make sure you harness them in. On the exhale, pushing back, straightening your arms. Inhale, move forward and harness those elbows in as you bend them slightly. Now the next time you move forward, of course, if this is too hard, you just do cat and cow, right? Cat and cow is very valuable to work with. And the next time you move forward and lift your butt a little bit, we can come down to our famous worm. And then from here, of course, no mini cobra, but we brush the belly over the floor. And we just hint a down upward facing dog because we don't want to overstretch the tummy. And then come into camel pose. Curl the toes under. fingertips, hands on your sacrum with your fingertips either up or down. Lifting your heart. As you curl those toes under, you feel a nice opening stretch maybe in the soles of your feet as well. Lengthen the tail a little bit and lift your heart without throwing your head back again. Rolling the shoulders back, harnessing your elbows a bit closer to one another. Come back to center. Place your hands onto the floor in front of you. Both knees at the same time lift away from the floor. And I have my blocks handy here. And come into Ardha Uttanasana, so half forward bend. And here it's like I'm bending one knee after the other. Keeping the soles of both feet grounded as I do so. And then from here, come slowly back to center, bending both knees. Make sure the spine is long. Push the feet down. I can help myself to upright with my hands pushing down on my thighs. Sweep your arms out to the sides and up. Join your palms, exhale. Sweep your arms out and up as you inhale. Exhale, drape forward, sliding your hands down the backs of your thighs. And down into half standing forward bend. So your hands can rest on your blocks again. Reaching the sit bones back, crown of your head forward. And then from here, bend those knees. And transition back into down dog. Or bring those knees down to the floor and come into mini dog. What we've done before. So if you're in down dog, your choice whether you bend those knees and keep them slightly bent to elongate the spine. Maybe you have the place or the reach to straighten those legs. Rock forward to plank pose. Knees go straight down to the floor. On your exhale, wave back into your kind of cat. Inhale, move forward into your cow wave. So moving back in a cat-like movement. On the inhale, elbows can bend if you wish, move forward. So a few more rounds. And then if you like moving forward, you can lower down into the worm. Let the belly brush over the floor. And just hinge upward facing dog before we come into camel pose once more. Lifting your heart, harnessing your elbows in. And then come back to a tabletop position. Like we've done a moment ago. Reach your right leg out to the side, toes point to the front. Left hand underneath the shoulder. Inhale, lift your heart. Exhale, curl down. On the inhale, lift. Curl down. Last one, lift. Exhale, curl down. Now come to upright. Slide your right foot halfway in, the toes oriented to the side. And once more into our side bend, with or without, as you wish, the water mudra. Opening the side body, creating space in your waist. Left hand goes on the floor. Extend your right leg back like we've done a moment ago. So I can either stay here with your right hand on the sacrum, rolling that shoulder back. If you can go further, lift your right leg away from the floor, bend at the knee, and get hold of that foot. Rolling your right shoulder back. And imagine you wanted to reach the wall behind you with your right leg. Another moment. Before you release that foot slowly and step your right foot now to the outside of your right hand. And the toes can rotate slightly out to the side. As we make outward circles now, outward circles, so to the right with our right knee and hip. Just do a couple of more of those, finding fluidity and a gentle opening in our hip. Before we come back to neutral shape, tabletop position. From here, you extend your left leg out to the side. Toes point to the front. Right hand underneath the shoulder. Inhale. Open your chest, your pelvis to the side. Exhale, curl down. Lift, inhale. Curl down, exhale. Last one, lift. Exhale, curl down. On your inhale, come to upright. Slide your left foot halfway in. Toes point to the side, into a side bend to the left. Opening your chest, especially the right side of your rib cage, the right waist. So you want to increase the space in between your right hip point and the lower right ribs. Right hand goes onto the floor underneath the shoulder. Move your left leg back. Left hand is pressing on the sacrum, and from here you roll that shoulder open, or you lift that left leg away from the floor, get hold of the foot, and pull the foot as close as you can comfortably do it towards your buttocks. Lifting the left knee higher, a little bit higher, and reaching it towards the wall behind you. Now from here, gaze down, step your left foot to the outside of your left hand with the toes gently rotated, a bit rotated out to the side. And then outward circle, so to the left with your left hip. And finding some opening in that left hip joint. Before we come all the way back to neutral table, curl the toes under, walk the hands back, and I really like the use of blocks at this point. Coming back to my half standing forward bend. Blocks can be upright, of course. So crown of your head is reaching forward, sit bones are reaching back. And we now just bend that left knee, the right leg stays straight and both feet ground as the right hand goes to the hip. Or you reach the fingertips high into a twist. If you want to go further, you're familiar with Ardha Chandrasana, and lift that right leg away from the floor, curl the hip open, stack your right hip on top of your left, and maybe reach through your right fingertips. Lengthening through the tail and pushing through the right heel. Now coming back down again, right hand onto the block, bending both knees. Step your right foot a little bit behind the left and rest the right knee against the left calf. Come to upright. Lift that right hip high, that right heel high. Arms out to the sides. Left hand grabs the right wrist. Let me show you from the front. Into side bend to the left. Spiral your chest up and breathe deeply into your side body. On the inhale, come back to center. Float that right foot away from the floor. Exhale. Step it down. Rebalance your body weight. Open your palms to the front. Sweep your arms out and up as you inhale. On your exhale, drape forward. You can massage your hands down the backs of your thighs. Before we meet in our half standing forward bend, bending that right knee. Left leg stays straight. Elongate your spine. And then twist to the left. Can keep the left hand on the hip. Or you reach your fingertips high. Or you come into Ardha Chandrasana. From here, bring your hand back down onto the block. Bend both of your legs. Step your left foot a little bit like behind or cross it behind your right foot. Left knee rests against your right calf. Come to upright. Lift that left heel away from the floor. Right hand grabs left wrist into a side bend to the right. Spiral your chest up and maybe the tailbone can be lengthened a little bit more. On your inhale, come slowly back to center. Lift that left knee a bit higher. And as you exhale, step it down. Rebalancing your body weight in between your feet. Growing tall. Now from here, we're gonna remove the blocks. So you wanna have like the whole mat in front of you, free, for what we call the funny walks. And helping you to mobilize the lower back and the hips with really nice, easy exercise. So take it not so big, we're aiming at 4 steps until we reach the top of the mat. Not so big step, like diagonally to the front. And you bring your right foot steps to the front. And you bring your hands to your hips. And we circle the hips now to the right side. Making big kind of hula hoop, if you remember from your childhood movements. And then we transfer our weight into the right foot. Turn the toes to the right. Lift that left leg. Step it down. And then circle your hips to the left. Big hip circles, imagining your babies in a merry-go-round. Enjoying that. Now transition your weight onto the left foot. Turn your toes a little bit over to the left. Lift that right knee. And then step it down. Circle your hips to the right. And transferring your body weight into the right foot. Turn your toes to the right. Lift that left leg and one last step to the front. Circling your hips to the left. Our funny walk. Looks even funnier with the big bellies we carry around. And now transition your weight into the left foot. Lift that right knee to hip height before you step it all the way down. Releasing your arms by the sides of your body. So now you can flip-flop your feet apart, so your feet will be on the floor, which is fine. I'm just gonna be oriented like so you can see me better. So it's really nice to have the feet on your floor now and then. As long as it's not really slippery, just stay oriented like so. Both feet point to the front, and now turn, but not just turn the right toes 90 degrees to the side. Preparing for triangle pose, and remember, we don't go as deep as we usually do. So keep the stance rather short. Now keep your hands on the hips actually, hands on the hips. So the pelvis is like in an upright position right now. But from here we drop that right hip point down, so the left hip point lifts. So we will see the spine follows, and then we can slide that right hand down. Maybe you're using a block, whatever works for you, into triangle pose. Rolling the left shoulder back. If it feels nice, of course, you can always reach through your left fingertips. If there is enough space in your shoulder girdle to do so, make sure you find open enough space in between your collarbones as well. Now bend the front knee, warrior 2. Reach through your fingertips. Make sure that your front knee doesn't go beyond the ankle. On your next inhale, lift your arms, parallel your feet. On the exhale, open to your second side. Left toes oriented to the front. Hands to your hips. Let the left hip point sink down. So you tilt the pelvis sideways. The spine follows. Slide your left hand down. And of course, we're not going as deep as we usually do. Of course, obviously we respect our body even more than we usually do when we practice yoga. Push the front big toe down into the floor to support the front knee. As you ground at the outside edge of that back foot firmly down into the floor and lengthen the tail at the same time, you might feel a nice opening in the lateral portion, right portion of your lower back. Rebend the front knee above the ankle, warrior 2. On your inhale, lift your arms, carol your feet. Exhale, release your arms down and flip-flop your feet a bit closer towards each other, not all the way. We turn the feet slightly out to the sides, bend the knees. Hopefully you have a block handy or something similar. Our supported squat. So we want to sit at this stage of pregnancy. Highly recommended to support the squat. This is a good birthing position as well, but you want to sit on something. So there are various options. You can sit this high, or if it's comfortable still, lower. So I really prefer to have it a little bit higher and have my elbows just rest on my knees and my arms just relaxed. So what we can add is another mudra, Apana mudra, connecting to the downward moving qualities which and energies, which also powers the contractions during labor, and that's ring finger and middle finger touching the thumb. And traditionally palms face up, but if it's more comfortable, and I find it more comfortable, palms face down. So you can close your eyes here and just allow yourself rest. And what we are concentrating or focusing here on here particularly is this downward opening. So here we want to make really sure and familiarize ourselves with relaxing the pelvic floor, completely relaxing. And again, we gently part our lips, releasing the exhale through our lips. But different from before, we're not now lifting the pelvic floor in the inhale. We keep it relaxed, but we work on relaxing it even more as we exhale. And if you don't know exactly if it is relaxed or not, you might even for a moment try to push, and kind of get a sensation for what it means to open that area. So just have a few moments in silence and explore. Now to slowly open your eyes again. And from here we're going to transition into cross-legged position without making big movements. So I hope you have everything you need handy. So you might want to sit on a folded blanket. Starting with our right shin in the front. And if you have pelvic girdle pain in the pubic area or sacroiliac joint area, I recommend you just stay cross-legged. If this is not really an issue for you, we can work our hip openers, hip rotator muscles a little bit more. Ankle to knee pose, where we try and move the knees a little bit more towards one another. They're more in line with the hips, and then they are in cross-legged. And we kind of parallel the shins, like if we go to the full pose, shins are on top of one another, right? So ankle to knee, ankle to knee. But this for many bodies is a little bit too intense, so then we have the right ankle in front of the left knee. But the shins are really parallel to one another, if that makes sense, right? Rather than having the left ankle, for example, way too close to the right sit bone. That's what usually happens. So if that's a comfortable stretch for you to work with, and if you're not suffering from pelvic girdle pain, go for it. And have your feet rather flexed. And then with a long spine, so we can just stay here. This might be plenty. If you have more room to play with, to go a little bit back to protect my ankles, you can maybe lean a little bit forward without rounding the lower back. So you want to create space in between your pubic bone and your breastbone. And what we can work here as well is another breathing technique called the golden thread exhalation. Comes very useful during labor, I've been told. So again, we inhale through the nose and we exhale through slightly parted lips. And we imagine the exhale releasing through the mouth as a thin golden thread. Like releasing that golden thread through our slightly parted lips, spinning out into the air in front of us. And that should not feel forced. It shouldn't be a forceful breath. But as we do that and imagine that golden thread spinning out through our lips into the air in front of us, we might observe on how the exhale naturally lengthens. And we can imagine that our mind travels further and further away from the body, where during labor intense sensations take place during the contractions. So we find that conscious distance between the body and the mind traveling further away from the body, carried away by this golden thread. And again, as always, be extra aware of relaxing your facial muscles. Let's have another cycle of breath here. Before we alternate the cross of the legs, you choose whether you want to go for cross-legged and just stay upright and work with that golden thread exhalation, or if it's safe for you to work with external hip rotators, then find your ankle to knee pose, either with the left ankle on top of the right knee, so not here but here, or in front. This is a little bit more mellow. And then if you can go further, not if you want, if your body allows you to do so, make sure that it's without rounding the lower back. Right? So you want to keep the sit bones reaching back, and find a mellow place. Find a mellow place where you can instead focus a little bit more on that technique, this golden thread, spinning out through slightly parted lips. You can imagine that thread being like a straight line. And others find it useful to imagine the thread spinning out into the air in the shape of a corkscrew. So it's something to practice and to see what or if at all it works for you. And not only, you can practice that in any situation where you feel like you need a sense more, so you need to cultivate more calmness and relaxation whenever you feel anxious or stressed out. This is a moment, a very valuable moment to practice the breath. And here we can use it to gently help us through the opening sensation in our hip. Let's have 1 or 2 more cycles of breath here. Before we come slowly to upright, preparing now for our Savasana. And we're gonna lie on our left side, since this is gonna promote optimal fetal position for birth. So it's something you might want to get used to already, lying on your left. And I'm gonna make myself comfortable with a blanket on my yoga mat, make it a little bit softer. So be really fussy about it. You might want to hit stop or pause to make sure that you get really comfortable. So I'm gonna use my famous beloved sleeping banana. If you don't have one like those, highly recommend it. I love it. So you can use those as a pillow. Apparently also very useful when it comes to breastfeeding, to position your baby and to have something in between your knees now. So I like to have my knees on top of one another, but maybe you prefer to have the lower leg straight and something underneath your right, just something underneath your right knee. So find a position that works for you. Pillow can work nicely as well. And get really comfortable. Now that you allow your body to settle and your mind to rest as well, bring your attention back to the center of your heart. And each time you exhale, allow your awareness from the center of your heart to travel down to your baby, nourishing your baby with the emotional energy of your heart space. And then as you inhale, let the awareness travel back up again. And take a few moments now to allow any sort of conversation that feels natural, whether through words or through feelings, to occur between the two of you. And then if you wish, let that communication come to a natural closure. And just allow your body to be held by the floor. So allow yourself to be carried and experience what it feels like to be truly supported without the need to hold anything. So completely surrender to the supporting qualities of the earth underneath you, carrying you, reminding yourself that you're not too heavy for her. Now, if you wish to stay longer, you're more than welcome to do so and just ignore my voice. If you have a certain time frame to time slot to work with, start to slowly wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. With your eyes still being closed, come slowly to a comfortable seat. Allowing your hands to rest heavily on your knees or thighs. And just allowing yourself a few more moments to check in, to observe whatever it is to observe. In the middle of whatever it is you experience at the moment, become aware of your breath again. It's wave-like nature coming and going, the tip of your nose. And bring your palms together in front of your chest. Feel the warmth of your palms as they touch. And take this as a sign of gratitude towards yourself for having made time today to practice as a way of taking care of yourself. Allow your next inhale be a little bit deeper. And then blink your eyes open again as you exhale. Thanks for joining. Thanks for practicing. Namaste.